Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday. We made it. I know it's not Friday, but I always just think we made it. It's Thursday, which is like, as my 15-year-old says, it's Friday Eve. So here we are. We are over on YouTube today because we've gotten so many questions about Wayward that I wanted to make sure that this was easy and that everybody can see it. So I'm getting a check mark on the back end here, but I am not seeing us on YouTube yet. So we are going to give it a minute to actually load over there. There we go. All right. So we are up and running. Good morning, everyone. Good to see you. For those of you who do not know, well, first we're going to say hi to Jake. Good morning, Jake.
Good morning. How's it going, everybody?
Good to have you. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Glad to be here.
So for those of you, yeah, Pete says you're live. Thank you, Pete. For those of you who do not know, Fluencer Fruit was recently acquired by Wayward, which gives us a whole new suite of opportunities. And I know that we all have a lot of questions about Wayward. And admittedly, I'm also learning a lot about Wayward as we go right now. And so I thought that it would probably be our absolute easiest if we brought Jake in to give us a full walkthrough of Wayward, all of the benefits, all of the opportunities, and give this group an opportunity to ask questions as well. And Jake, I think one of the things that you'll see with this group is they have really good questions. They're super curious, and they are a very engaged group of people creating content, a lot of content, right? So they've got really like a lot of advanced questions a lot of times. So
please bring them all on. I'm ready for them.
Because of that, I was like, I am probably not going to try the Wayward tutorial on my own. I'm going to definitely bring in the expert here. So all right, amazing. Well, you guys, as we get started, be thinking about what questions you have, the things that you have been asking me or have been, wondering about, but haven't had a chance to answer me. I did send Jake a couple of the questions that you guys have already sent me. So he's kind of like been able to mull those over on the front end as well. But Jake, if you want, why don't you give a little bit of an intro of like your background with content creation, affiliate, and your background with Wayward, as well as where you're at with Wayward right now.
Yeah, so I'm Jake, obviously. I lead growth here at Wayward. I've been here for almost 2 years, which is crazy. It's just as long as the company's actually been around for. And, previously I came from a whole slew of different, backgrounds and whatnot. But most recently, prior to Wayward, I was working at impact.com. Building their self-service offering for brands specifically. But in kind of my free time, I've also been somewhat of a content creator. It's mostly just been for experimentation, but I was able to kind of grow a channel up to well over 100,000 followers.
That's big.
It's definitely not for the purpose of making money, but it's more about kind of just laughable content and whatnot. But so it's allowed me to kind of like dive really deep into that space as well. I've talked to hundreds of creators over the course of the last 2 years, thousands of brands. So I've had experience on both sides of this marketplace, and excited to kind of help support the growth of this community, and really excited to see kind of, what it becomes in the, new joint venture of Fluencer Fruit and Wayward. So
absolutely. I was telling somebody yesterday, like one of the problems that we are trying to solve with the combination of Wayward and Fluencer Fruit in our communities is that problem, that pain point that everybody has, right? Which is the brands really want to work with good content creators, and creators really want to work with good brands. And for some weird universal reason, like we all start with the wrong type of the opposite side of the fence, right? It's like brands always initially are getting these approaches from people who are like, I have one follower and my mom buys everything I post, right? Don't worry, it will be great. And then on the creator side, it's like, here is a $5 product we would like to not pay you for. You should buy it. And please create 7 videos of 7 minutes each. It's like everybody starts with like the wrong conversations.
Totally.
And I feel like one of the cool things that we get to do now is solve for that pain point. So we can really have meaningful conversations about how everybody works together, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I would say, there's definitely been misalignment between brand expectations and creator expectations
Yes.
historically. But when it comes to affiliate, it's also been a pretty disjointed process historically, right? You have to submit an application to a brand, wait for them to approve you. You go back and forth, try to negotiate rates. It's just a lot of extra time and work for everybody on both sides. And, really our goal since day one here at Wayward has been to eliminate as much of that work as possible and make it as easy as possible for creators to, promote products that convert well and have high commissions, right? So
yeah, this is amazing. Pete says, I can't even get my mom to watch my vids. So she's not contributing to your affiliate revenue, huh, Pete? Real quick, Christina, I'm sad that you can't join us today, but yes, the recording will stay on the YouTube channel, so you'll be able to access that later. And Beth says, good morning, everyone. I'm so green on Wayward that I don't even know what to ask. And you, my friend, are in the right place because Jake is going to start from the beginning, walk us all the way through, and then I'm sure you will have questions once we get into it. So
awesome.
With that, Jake, you want to kick us off and we can jump into the Wayward tutorial?
For sure. I am going to share my screen here for the first time on this platform I've never used, but
it's going to be great. It's going to be great.
Bear with me for 1 second here. All
right. I'm going to add that to stage. There you go.
All right. Cool. Wait, where did it go? Oh, there it is. All right. Cool. All right. So we can all see my screen now here, right?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. So this is effectively your creator dashboard console, for lack of a better term. This is effectively the first thing that you'll see once you create your account if you haven't already, and are approved on the platform and whatnot. So the kind of launch pad here will take you through setting up your Wayward account. When we say store, transparently, like Wayward was built as a storefront platform for content creators where creators could come build a storefront of products and promote that storefront to their audience. It's something we still offer today, which I can walk you through kind of towards the end of the call or the demonstration here. But if you ever see store, it's referring to kind of that storefront product that really was the original concept of Wayward. Kind of the next step here is to really create your profile. I always say this is super important for creators to do because this is effectively what brands are going to see when they're, browsing the creator list on Wayward. So, definitely put in an image if you haven't already, your name, your bio. You could copy paste this from Instagram or whatever platform you're on if you want to. But, make sure that you have a really comprehensive bio here so that brands kind of know who you are, what you can promote, and, can effectively message you when they have opportunities for you. Likewise, also make sure to select your niches that you're in. You can select up to 3 of them, but this is effectively going to allow us to match you with the right products as they get added to the platform. And we're in the background here. We're building a whole bunch of like new AI technologies that really are going to hinge on like what you provide in this profile. So it's super important that you fill out your niches and whatnot. Likewise, you can also put in kind of your personal information here. You can fill out as much or as little as you want to. We're not selling your data or anything on the back end like that or whatnot. But
does my birthday show up on my profile?
It does not show up on your profile.
Just checking.
So I think that's more so like we might send you a birthday gift or something like that. And likewise, gender, the children and pets, that's going to allow brands like, for instance, like baby brands, they want to know if you have kids or like even more like teenager focused products and whatnot. So if you do have kids, like make sure you note that so that the brands can find you and send you those relevant products. Same thing obviously with pets and whatnot. Likewise, also super important to fill out as many of these social accounts as you have here. I would say for this group specifically, making sure that you put in kind of your Amazon storefront
Mm.
is super important there as well. But this will get shown like directly on your Wayward profile as, brands are kind of browsing and, looking at creators to work with. So that's kind of the profile section here. I'll go back to the homepage here.
I've got a really quick question for you
Yeah,
from somebody on the profile page, and since
sure.
Christina can't stay, I just thought I'd bring this up. She said she's tried to set up her profile, but it doesn't save. She was wondering if she's missing the save button.
Yeah, so it should pop up right here. So it should show up like right here at the bottom. It
Hold
should
on, I'm
say,
gonna remove the comment. There it is. Okay.
so it's right here at the bottom. If you make a change, just make sure to hit save changes. So
Thank you.
yeah, hopefully that clears that up. And then, yeah, obviously creating your first product link, which I'll go through in a second, and then adding your bank account so you get paid. We're going to be adding like more ways to get paid out through Wayward, like for instance, through PayPal over the next couple months. But right now, the way it works is effectively you put your bank account in once a month, we'll transfer kind of the commissions that you're owed from not the previous month, but the month before that. So that's effectively due to the way that Amazon advertising attribution works, where effectively there's what we call in the affiliate space a locking period, where after you drive a sale, that sale is tracked for up to 30 days after the fact. And there's also a 14-day attribution window. So sales can kind of trickle in after the end of the month, or returns can happen after the end of the month. Hence why there's kind of at least we call it 35 to 45 days delay. But effectively, if I was to drive a sale today, I'd be getting paid out for that sale on June 1st, effectively.
This audience is going to be really familiar with that timeline, just because that's about the same that we get paid from on-site for Amazon as well.
Yep, exactly. It's pretty common in the affiliate space to have some sort of locking period just to make sure that, those transactions kind of quote unquote finalize and whatnot. Yeah. The other thing here is that, this is more kind of historical legacy settings here, but, we do have the ability to kind of surface like any Amazon product here. You can also add any Amazon product to your storefront. So if you wanted to add your associate tag here, you could totally do that. And then basically any product that's not in our catalog that you'll find in the platform just by like searching an Amazon link, it'll just easily spin up, that normal associates link for you. If you are generating a link through the platform, it will not include, like for instance, one of these products here, it will not include your associates tag, just given that, due to some policy changes from Amazon in December, you cannot use associates tag with an attribution link. And when I say attribution link, I'm meaning basically the links that you're generating on these Wayward products that have effectively higher commissions. So, did you have a question, Liz?
I was going to go ahead because you may be answering it before I even ask it.
Yeah. So effectively, this is what an attribution link looks like. It has all these extra parameters and whatnot. It allows us to track the sales and traffic that you're driving to this product. But effectively, if you see kind of these AA campaign IDs or things like that within the link, it's really important that you do not use an Amazon Associates tag, as that is against kind of Amazon's T&Cs or terms and conditions effectively. But you will still earn commissions on any product that's sold by that brand that you're promoting. So for instance, if I drive my audience to this product, they see the product and then they go and click like 5 Stars United and go buy kind of a different product from this brand, you'll still earn commissions from that as long as the product's still from that brand. And generally, when you're comparing kind of the commission rates on Wayward versus Amazon Associates, the rates are generally going to be much higher on Wayward compared to Associates, just given that brands are actually getting an incentive from Amazon each time they drive a sale through one of these links. So they're able to offer at least 10 points of commission free of charge to them, by using these specific links. Did that answer your question, Liz?
Yeah, that was good. I was just thinking, I was like, my next question is, so if, for example, on the ring seller here, if they buy 2 rings, do I get credit for both rings? So it's like every product from that seller that like linked over? Okay.
Correct. Yes, you
Nice.
do. So you get commission on, if I was to buy 100 of these, you get commission on all of that. So, and there's actually a 14-day attribution window. So if I, click the link and then leave and come back, 12 days later and buy the product, I still get commission for that. Kind of to be really technical there, it's basically last click attribution. So
Okay.
that means like effectively, if I click my link, leave, come back and have not clicked any other attribution link, I'll get credit for that effectively. So
I was just going to ask you from a really technical side. So, of course, we know that like the Amazon cookie, the Amazon attribution cookie is like for associates is 24 hours.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
And so like, or until somebody clicks on another cookied link, right? So like if you and somebody watches my Instagram, clicks on it, but then watches your Instagram and clicks on it, you get that last touch attribution.
Exactly.
For these, if I have a Wayward link and then you have an Amazon link and we send people to the same one, does yours overtake or do I still have the cookie? I know that's real technical.
That is a tough question because the simple fact is that Amazon is a bit of a black box, especially when you're comparing like attribution to associates tracking. Technically, from what we know, they are separate tracking mechanisms. But like I was saying at the beginning, Amazon's instituted these policy changes to prevent people from using associates and attribution together. So my gut feeling is that they have some way of kind of like identifying the crossover there. So to be safe, I would say that it's going to be last click, whether or not it's an attribution link or an associates tag. But the simple fact is we don't know because Amazon doesn't tell us.
A little bit of a black box. Absolutely. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate. Do you mind if we add a couple questions in here for you?
Keep them coming.
All right. Doug wants to know what happens if we convert that to a Genius link and it's sold through another geo?
Yeah. Great. So right now, Wayward commissions are only applicable to Amazon US. We'll be adding, more markets like Amazon UK and Canada. Genius Link is an amazing platform, great people over there. We have an integration with them. So make sure that you kind of put in your Wayward creator API key, which you can find right here. I'm not going to click this because it'll show the API key, but effectively you can grab your API key, throw that into Genius Link. Anytime you promote an Amazon product, if it's in the Wayward catalog, it'll automatically go and create one of these attribution links and append that to your US traffic specifically. However, you would not get credit if it is purchased in, like, for instance, the UK or Canada. That's something that will likely come later in 2025.
Excellent. Thank you. And then I think this is similar but different. Can we shorten the links?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You can so what I would say is don't shorten the short link because this is obviously already shortened for you. But you can always just click the link, grab the full link. This link in full works whether or not you shorten it or not. So you can take this long link and go and throw that into a link shortener all day long. No problem.
Perfect. Thank you. Question 2. Are these sales pulled from our Amazon affiliate results and bonus program?
They are not. So they are separate from your Amazon associates reporting. They're, like I was saying, they're effectively two different tracking systems. So these links rely upon Amazon advertising attribution, which was really built for sellers to drive their own offsite traffic to their Amazon listings, mainly through like Google and, paid advertising. However, like once they released that technology, all the folks in the affiliate world kind of realized you could use this as kind of affiliate tracking software. And the big kind of incentive there is that when brands use these links, they're effectively getting a 10% rebate on Amazon seller fees each time someone purchases through these links. Hence why the commissions are so much greater than Amazon associates. But to answer your question directly, you would not see these sales reflected in your Amazon associates account. The important thing to kind of think about in relation to, using associates versus an attribution link is what your expected cost per click is going to be. So if you're seeing, more sales coming from like an indirect purchase through associates, and you're earning, let's say 50 cents a click effectively, it's really important to understand like, okay, if I was only driving, if I was only getting credit for the products that I was actually promoting through that link, how much commission would I earn if I was getting, in this case, 30% kind of commission
Mhm.
on that, direct purchase instead of 1 to 4% per se.
Um, I think the other thing that I'll call out for this group is if you have a specific rate card with Amazon that requires a certain volume, this will not count towards that, right? Because I know there's a couple of you in here that have like not just standard. So it is separate. That won't this revenue will not count towards that commitment that you've made.
Correct. But again, I think it kind of comes down to the product and the channel that you're promoting on, right?
Yeah.
So, and how close you are in terms of like hitting those bonuses. So,
Absolutely.
if you're already well on track to kind of hit those bonuses and you're looking for more ways to kind of unlock more revenue, this is sort of a great, thing to add on to that. So, because some of these commission rates are actually way higher than like what you would get through Amazon. So for
Yeah.
instance, like specifically you'll see in the high commission category, it's a lot of supplements, but these commission rates range all the way up to 70%. So there's definitely like a pretty healthy incentive to be, promoting directly through these attribution links.
Yep. Absolutely. Hey, Pete wants to know he uses Post Tap and does Wayward work with that?
I've actually never heard of that one, but it's called Post Tap, you said?
Yeah, I think, and you guys can correct me on this, I think Post Tap is the one that Amazon started recommending and or acquired.
Let me just
Um,
see. So we're looking at the same thing. This is
yeah,
assuming.
that one.
Yeah, I mean, I'll reach out to them the minute we get off the call. But yeah, if that's going to make your life easier, like we're very committed to, building these partnerships with other platforms that are going to make your life easier. So, like I said, we have a great partnership with Genius Link today. We also have a partnership with URL Genius as well. So we're working on adding kind of more of these platforms to help support our creators. But I'll definitely make a note to reach out to PostTap because it seems like an interesting platform. So.
Yeah, Amazon like a year and a half ago or something started being like, please use Post Tap, like yada yada. And it was like, oh, and they had acquired them.
Okay.
So there was a lot of like initial confusion around what that meant for some of the other like deep linking and everything else. And it ended up that it ended up not being a big deal. Like everybody just continued using what they were using. But yeah.
Yeah, and I think Amazon is generally like endorsing this type of model, so they
Yeah.
definitely are a fan of like what we're doing here. But obviously they didn't want to keep paying the associates commission and the attribution bonuses all in the same kind of purchase, hence why they kind of changed the policies. But Amazon has like endorsed this model. They are a fan of it. So, even if we're working with companies that are owned by Amazon, they're generally like very receptive to this type of thing. So.
Yeah, and interestingly, guys, if you are working with any brands like that you're talking to kind of directly, it's worth like introducing them to Wayward because a lot of them are on creator connections and that's the only thing that they're familiar with. But if they're offering 10 or 20% commission on creator connections, they're paying that 100% out of pocket. Whereas if they're utilizing Wayward, they get like a 10%. It's basically like their version of an affiliate link, right? Like they get a 10% credit for this. So instead of paying that 10 or 20% out of pocket, they take a 10% like offset to that expense. So I know that there are a lot of people in here that also work directly with brands. This is a really good fit for them as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's also worth noting it's entirely risk-free for brands. So there's no like monthly fee for them. Effectively, we only make money when brands are driving sales through the platform. So it's a pretty easy sell to get your favorite brands kind of on the platform as well. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
All right. So somebody expressed a little bit of confusion, and Pete is correct. We are talking about how to link offsite to Amazon products using Wayward. So we are generally speaking, just to answer your question, we are talking about Wayward. We're doing a walkthrough. We're taking questions about how to best use the platform. And we will, once I stop interrupting Jake with questions, we will towards the end talk about like the specifics around offsite and onsite and for this crew specifically. I know we have some on-site only people, so we'll talk to you guys about how to best use Wayward as well.
Awesome. Any other kind of just questions there?
I mean, we've got more. I know Wayward has an API because we see that with Genius Link. Is there a way to connect the API with other platforms so we can connect and automate with? Specifically, I'm thinking a connection with Airtable so that I can send links to brands in Wayward.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, with an API, you can basically do anything. I've built a lot of API integrations myself, like firsthand. You do not need like a fancy like platform to do it. You can effectively use that API to generate links, pull our entire product catalog, pull the brand list, pull your reports if you want to. So there's a whole bunch of functionality with that API. And I always say to someone that's like, if you're new to APIs, utilize ChatGPT to kind of like build exactly what you want. It should be very straightforward. And like the way I recommend doing that is, within the API page, it'll link out to our API documentation. You can go in there, grab all of our documentation on our API, feed that into ChatGPT, describe exactly what you want to do, and it should spit out, very clean instructions on how to accomplish like what you're trying to do there. So
perfect. Thanks. And Lane, if you run into an issue finding the API, because is the creator API, that's just the creator API. Is there also one for like the brand side as well?
I guess, could you clarify that in terms of like what you'd be looking for there?
Okay. I guess my actual question is, if Lane builds automations like sending links to brands through, he's looking through or in Wayward, is that the creator API that he would use?
So you're saying like the links that you've generated through the platform that you want to send to brands, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, we do have an endpoint within our API to pull all of the links that you've created. I would say if you're generating a lot of links, it can be hard to find the exact one that you're looking to do. So what I would recommend doing is like adding some of these primary tracking or sub-tracking IDs and an internal display name. That way, when you call the API to look for that specific link, you can easily just filter out the results that don't have that value and pull that link out of the API response. But so yeah, that should be very easy or straightforward. I won't say easy, but straightforward.
Straightforward.
Accomplish, but and ChatGPT should theoretically be able to like pretty easily build that for you. So
perfect. Thank you.
Of course.
All right. Doug wants to know if there's an affiliate / commission if they drive brands to Wayward.
Yes, there is. I would say shoot me an email and we can talk about that. We don't have like a public referral program quite yet, but we can definitely compensate you for any brand referrals you're making for sure.
Doug, shoot me a message and I'll connect you with Jake.
Yeah, awesome.
All right. So Pete's clarifying. If I'm correct, Amazon gives sellers a 10% discount on fees to advertise their own products on Amazon. Wayward facilitates us selling their associated products using Wayward links, and then we get a cut of that 10% savings.
Exactly. And usually it's more than the 10% savings that they're getting. Like in this case, 70%. Like these supplement brands typically give away their entire margin to get that first sale because they're banking on that subscribe and save. So in most cases, I would say like our average commission rate on the platform is generally around 20 to 25%. So and when you're looking at this brand list here, it'll always be sorted with kind of the highest commission offers available. But in general, like the average attribution rate is 25%. So it's even more than that 10% rebate that they're getting. It's just that 10% rebate allows them to be able to offer these commissions without, eating away at the margin that, Amazon's already taking a pretty healthy cut of. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. We made it through all of the current questions.
Cool. Well, I guess I'm already on the brands page, so I'll show you this part. So this is effectively kind of like the brand list here. We have, well over 1,100 brands total. One thing that might be a little bit confusing, and this is likely something that's going to go away from the platform over the next couple of weeks, is the concept of a Wayward exclusive product. So for instance, this was really the original concept of Wayward, where these are all effectively Shopify brands. I would just ignore these if you see them in the platform. They're going to be kind of sunsetted and revamped over the next month or two. But you can easily just kind of filter these brands out here and just filter down to kind of these Amazon direct brands within kind of this brands page. You can also kind of filter down to, like, if I wanted to promote, baby care products, I can very easily filter down to just those brands that are selling products within that category. So should be easy to kind of find, the products and brands that you're looking for in the, categories that you promote. Likewise, since I know this was kind of one of your original questions here about, messaging brands, if you click into the brand profile, there is a message brands kind of functionality. This is also something we're in the process of rebuilding, but the way it works today is when you send a message, it's going to send them an email, and then they can reply to that email, and then it routes it right back to your email address and kicks off basically a normal email chain from there. So it should be relatively simple. Like, our goal with building this originally was that we don't want you to have to manage another third-party inbox somewhere and check it all the time. Like, it should all just happen through kind of your normal inbox communications and whatnot. But this is effectively like where you would go to, send a message to a brand. You can also request a sample here. I'm saying this because it's not available to every single creator, but every creator on this call, I believe, has gotten kind of the special link we created to make sure that you have these features available. If you don't have these features available, let me know. We can make that happen for you. It should be pretty simple change on our end to kind of enable these features for you. But you can kind of fill out, I would always include a message if you're requesting a sample and letting the brands know like exactly what you plan to do. From the other perspective, like, brands have some scar tissue around samples, especially with other platforms where, like, day one, they're getting inundated with sample requests. Creators are getting the samples, they're not doing anything with them, and they've developed some scar tissue there. So I would be very clear with brands about like what you plan to do with those products and how you plan to promote them. That way they can make kind of the most informed decision on if they want to kind of fulfill that sample request or not.
Yeah, I'm going to jump in here and add to what you just said, because our community, we've had people start kind of messaging, and the thing that I want to remind everyone is, in addition to the scar tissue that the brands have from, like, people asking and not producing content and some of those things, they also have not yet worked a lot, or specifically through Wayward, they haven't worked with creators doing on-site and off-site content. And so it's going to be on us, and Jake and I are working on this on our end, but also for the beginning, when you guys are doing this, we're going to need to do a little bit of educating in our initial emails. So you're probably going to want to say, if you're doing on-site only, or if you're doing on and off-site, like Jake said, like, tell them what you're going to do with it. If you're on-site only, so you're only influencer and you're not doing off-site traffic driving, make sure you talk to them about what that means. Because quite honestly, like, as much talking as Jake and I do to brands, telling them about what it is and what it means and how it works with conversion, every day we talk to brands who have never heard of this, don't know what it does, and don't know why the influencers are there. So even in our space, right? So for you guys, when you're reaching out to brands, take that opportunity, help us out, but also help yourself out, right? And walk them through what on-site is. You don't have to do a whole thing, but maybe put together a little bit of a script that you add at the end to everyone. Like, hey, if you haven't heard of on-site, this is where we show up. This is what we do. The thing that you want to mention is what's in it for them. That's what we all care about when somebody pitches us, right? Is what's in it for the person that you're pitching. Your answer to that is conversion rate. It helps conversion. They're already paying for traffic. They're already doing all these things. If you're only doing on-site, your metric that you want them to look at is conversion rate. Okay. So that's a tip. But the other thing that I'll tell you, because I know a couple of you have been like, oh, I responded and they never replied. We're all still in the same space of everybody's getting hundreds of messages every day. So again, one of the things Jake and I are working on is a way to help brands and creators connect more effectively. And it's always going to include an inbox scenario, but we're working on more personalized opportunities on how to solve this pain point. But for right now, if a brand doesn't respond to you when you respond to them, don't take that personally. They're also playing volume games with not getting like information out about if they're running a deal, if they're on Wayward, if they have extra commission, those sorts of things. And it's been an offsite only play up to this point. So my kind of like add on here is be patient. We probably are going to need additional education on both sides while we like jump in, and don't be afraid to join in and send extra information to the seller when you send them something back.
And I'll also add on to that and say, like, if you're not hearing back from a brand, double check your spam box, because the thing with Amazon brands is like a lot of them don't have like a brand presence outside of Amazon. And I've seen brands that have these domains that are like basically dead links and things like that. So double check your spam box, because it could definitely, there's always a chance that it ends up there if they are responding. And then, let us know if you need support there as well. Like, we're also happy to kind of reach out on our end and see, what happened and whatnot. So just throwing that out there.
Jake, is there a way for Pete says give us a score, but I'm going to actually rephrase this just a little bit. If I'm working with a seller, can they favorite me as somebody that they like working with to kind of like so they can come back to me?
Not yet. That's something we're working on, though. I've been pushing for this exact feature for a long time. Early on in my career, I worked at Rover.com for several years, and it was all about the reviews and ratings, and definitely understand like how important that is within a marketplace environment. So
yeah.
It's something that you could expect to see, over the next few months or so. I don't want to give an exact timeline there, but it's definitely something that's been on the roadmap for a little bit. So.
Yeah. I always tell this group, I'm like, listen, I'm gonna stop giving timelines because I'm like, this is gonna be soon, and then the devs are like, stop saying that.
Yeah. Months is like my go-to, but know that it's on our roadmap and we're working on it. So
perfect, amazing. All right, we're caught up on questions again.
Cool. Love it. Keep them coming if you do have more. But so yeah, that's the brand side here of like browsing kind of the different brands. You can also browse by product. Another hint here is that you can also kind of paste it in Amazon URL. One thing I was going to showcase on the call today, but I'm having some cookie caching issues for lack of a better term, is our Chrome extension. So theoretically, if I was able to log into it today, what you should very easily be able to log into it, is that you can install our Chrome extension. It will live on the Amazon product page. I'm sure the last thing you guys need is another Chrome extension on the Amazon product pages, but eventually we'll likely be kind of combining the Fluencer Fruit stuff into Wayward or vice versa, so that it's kind of all in one place and available to you whenever you want it. But as it stands right now, like, you can install the Wayward Chrome extension. It'll tell you if it's in our catalog. If it's not in our catalog, it'll recommend similar products in that category that are. So if I was looking at kind of a different ring protector or ring guard or whatever you call this product that was not in our catalog, it would recommend to promote this product instead. You can also very easily generate one of these attribution links through that Chrome extension as well. And it'll tell you exactly what you can expect to earn, from promoting that product.
Yeah.
Yep.
And just so you guys know, it's also on our roadmap. But at some point, the Fluencer Fruit and the Wayward extensions will combine. So those of you who are current Fluencer Fruit extension subscribers, that will be added in. And for those of you who are not yet, there will be the version of the extension that includes this same information. For right now, we're still separate, but that will at some point not be two solutions. It will be down to one.
Absolutely. And the way to get there is just from this dropdown. There's a Chrome extension tab here. It'll take you right to our Chrome extension page to install that. Leave a rating if you can. It's relatively new. No one leaves ratings on Chrome extensions anymore. But
hard.
Please do it if you can. So yeah, that's how you kind of get to the Chrome extension. But either way, you can also browse by product here as well within the Wayward platform. We've done a ton of work to kind of speed up this experience over the last couple of weeks, but it's going to keep getting better and better. But for right now, effectively, you can very easily kind of add filters, filter down by category to easily find kind of the products that you're looking for. Or, the other alternative being like, I can just grab an Amazon link here and very easily search it to see, if it's in our catalog or not. So, great.
I got a question for you, because I went looking for a brand the other day and it was like They're not currently on Wayward, but click here if you want us to add them or something like that, if you want to work with them on the Wayward platform. So if I press that, I didn't because I didn't want to like add work to your plate at the moment.
Yeah.
But if I press that, like what happens on the back end there?
Oh gosh, you're it kicks into my magical process of outreaching to the brands. But
Perfect.
effectively, the way that we source brands is a whole variety of ways. But basically, if you give me an ASIN, it's very easy to figure out sort of like who's selling that product, what their brand name is, and then we have some kind of technology that utilizes a combination of AI and other platforms, like for instance Clay.com, to go out and figure out who works for that company, what their email address is, what their LinkedIn profile is. And then we have technology that kind of like automatically reaches out to them about Wayward. So it's pretty efficient for us to, find and reach out to brands. If there are brands you want to see on the platform that you don't have a contact with, definitely let us know or kind of click that button. And then, likewise, we're adding about 20 new brands a week to the platform.
Nice.
And that continues to kind of increase as well. So, brands will continuously be added. The other thing is definitely make sure that you're getting our newsletters. If you have not, if you already have an account and you're not getting our newsletters, let myself or Liz know. I can go and check that for you to make sure that you're enabled to receive those. Sometimes email addresses are set up in a way that our system can flag them to prevent sending, but it's pretty easy fix if you're not getting those emails. Once a week, we'll send out kind of the new brands of the week. We also send out what we call collab alerts. So they're more dedicated emails for kind of higher, bigger brands that have lots of reviews, that are looking for direct partnerships with creators. So if you see one of those collab alerts, definitely check it out. Usually it'll have a link to a form to fill out. But that's really how kind of your best chance at being right front and center for brands that are looking for direct partnerships with creators like yourself. So
love that. Well, you're going to get a bunch of requests from me.
Love it. Keep me coming.
All right. Heather says, so if a brand reaches out, can or should we ask for a sample?
I mean, totally. If that's what you need to drive sales for the brand or create content for them, then yes, please feel free to ask for a sample. I would say, again, just be very clear with what you plan to do with that sample. That's really where brands get hung up is well, they just asked for a sample or they asked for a $2,000 couch and I don't know what they're going to do with it. So it's really important, especially for higher price point items, that you kind of inform the brand what exactly you're going to do with it. That's going to increase your chances of actually getting that sample request fulfilled.
Yeah. I think some of my favorites are when you already have content for something else in their catalog. This pitch still doesn't always work for me, but I have had ones where it's hey, I already did this video for this and I can tell you what the results are for this. Or if you have something in the same category, right? So if you've got a similar dog leash, you can be hey, I did a video on site for this and it converts at this rate. And I'd usually do around this amount of sales for them every month. Those sorts of things are really helpful for brands.
Absolutely. Yeah. Sending your previous content is going to definitely increase your chances of success there. Brands love to see that. So
yeah.
Awesome.
All right. Beth says, when I mentioned brands not responding, the scenario was they initiated, then I responded and heard nothing. Is that common? Maybe that's what you're saying, but seemed odd since they initiated.
Yeah, that is odd. I would double check your spam box, like I said, and make sure that they did respond there. And then if that's still the case, let me know. We definitely don't want to encourage that activity from brands. If they're sending you a message, they should be responding to that. So, let me know, if you're not finding that kind of response in your spam box and what the brand name is, we definitely would want to talk to that brand to make sure that they're not just blasting out kind of messages and not responding to them. So,
you know what? I'm actually really excited to hear you say that because I had categorized it as this is just the way all of the brand messaging works, is it's a volume game for them. And so that's really exciting.
I mean, yeah, I'm a believer that the system has been flawed for a long time on both sides, right? Like creators get a
Agree.
ton of outreach from brands, brands get a ton of outreach from creators. Ultimately, the amount that actually ends up getting connected is a pretty small percentage. And like that's we started kind of like doing these mechanisms on the creator side where we hand review effectively every creator that applies to be a part of Wayward. We assign them a score on the back end. To answer your score, that score is not visible on the front end, but effectively it's kind of like if you're above a certain threshold on that scoring kind of mechanism, based on the sales you drive, the quality of your profile, and that changes over time. It kind of determines what features you have access to. So, for instance, that request a sample or messaging button is only available to like top tier creators for the sole reason that we don't want brands like inundated with sample requests that ultimately are not going to get fulfilled or like have content created with them. And so it's important for us to do kind of that same thing on the other side of the marketplace as well. So at some point, like we'll develop kind of more checks and balances to make sure that brands are responding to those messages if they're sending them out themselves.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, guys, hopefully I'm so excited about that. I didn't know that. I'm like pumped. I was like, no, it's just the way of the world. But yeah, you're right. Fantastic.
Yeah, I see you did check your spam box, nothing there. But yeah, so let me know the brand name. I'll check them out and see to make sure.
Maybe not in chat, Beth. Maybe just like send it to us on the side. I don't put on anybody on blast.
Yeah.
All right. Doug wants to know, are the new products on the homepage filtered for our profile? I see very few new products on my homepage, which doesn't make sense with so many products and brands joining the site.
Not yet. It's coming. It used to be that way, and then we're rebuilding that functionality to like make it more relevant to you. Specifically, like I would say one big push we've been making is for creators to fill out their profiles. Historically, it was very hard for us to match the products to the creators before we had kind of this concept of profiles. So make sure that profile's filled out over the next. I keep saying this over the next couple months, but like we are basically building a Wayward 2.0 right now, completely from the ground up using AI. And that will effectively like include these intelligent product recommendations, all these different features that you guys are asking for. It's a lot easier to kind of build something brand new from scratch using AI rather than retrofitting kind of our platform to kind of, add all these new features in. So Wayward 2.0 is coming. We're hoping to launch it this summer at some point. So, stay tuned for that. But as it stands right now, it is not filtered to your specific profile.
Love it. All right. Debbie wants to know, are there paid collaborations?
Not yet. That's also something that's coming as well. But as it stands right now, no.
Yeah, Debbie, that's something that is like, of course, Jake and I have a lot of crossover between brand and creator. That's something we're working on. Is currently the paid collaboration portion for on-site specifically is the same as what it was with the Fluencer Fruit agency portion.
Right.
Yep. What we have coming is the possibility of paid offsite, paid on-site, and then a little bit more. So at the moment, because the Fluencer Fruit agency offering has been very white glove, so a high price ticket item in the space that we operate in, which was very intentional because I am me. And so I was handling all of that. So now that we have more people involved in the process, we're going to be able to continue to offer the white glove at the moment, but then also offer some other pricing tiers for some stuff that's maybe a little bit more DIY for the brands and the creators and connections and those sorts of things. So that stuff is all like on our vision map and being like, we actually have had like multiple calls this week about like this process and everything. So we're working that direction. So paid collaborations only as they currently exist, coming from Fluencer Fruit with more opportunities in the future.
Yep, exactly. And so, yeah, you can expect long-term the Fluencer Fruit kind of like paid offerings to be built into Wayward, and for that to be a lot more streamlined than, you know, Liz doing her mastermind on the back end and running it all herself. So
we're gonna take some of the AI and start doing a little matching, because right now it's Liz being like, let's see who has dogs.
exactly. It'll be real AI, not Liz AI. So.
Yeah, exactly. Not the AI that is actually just me in the background.
Exactly. Awesome. Do we have
Pete
more
wants to know if he sends you $5, if you can set his account to top tier. Top tier.
Not yet. I don't accept bribes, but you know, that actually has been something that will probably come sooner than later before kind of these other bigger features I'm mentioning, where like we do want to add sort of like these badges to creator profiles, and like it would sort of be like a, you know, silver or bronze, silver, gold, platinum status. In transparently platinum being like the BuzzFeeds and Forbes of the world. But you know, I do think it is important to kind of have kind of those tiering systems there. So I would expect that to come before Wayward 2.0, but I don't have an exact timeline on that. So and we can make sure that you're first to be evaluated there. So
so there, you got your top of the list.
Yeah.
Beth wants to know where to send the brand information for people not responding.
So you can reach out to me, jake@wayward.com, or brands@wayward.com. Either one works, or creators@wayward.com. It all kind of ends up back to me in some way or not. So whichever one you feel like you want to reach out to, feel free to send an email there.
I love it. All emails lead to Jake, so just send one. Okay, Beth says, for samples, you mentioned only some creators may have this option. I looked and didn't see the option, then checked on another product and saw it. So is it also an option from only some sellers?
If you could send a screenshot of that, that would be really helpful. That sounds like something to do with the platform. So if you're only seeing that on some brands, that's odd. So send me a screenshot if you can. We'll look into it.
Yeah. Beth, you are not alone. I wanted to say on that comment.
Yeah.
Okay, it looks like Pete and Lane both asked similar questions, but if we are asking for wish list items, could we get an option for brands to buy our stuff for their use? Copyright. Oh, I see. Yeah, and then Lane says, is Wayward interested in handling licensing our content to brands?
It's come up quite a few times. Eventually, that's the goal. I think, you know, we want to be involved in every aspect of this long term. At this time, it's not something we really touch, but just to be fully straight up and transparent with you. But in the future, probably. But, you know, right now, no.
Yeah, envision like kind of where we have very early talks about, like, from the DIY and everything else, like some form of basically being able to offer in a two-sided marketplace. So I'm going to separate these from the copyright to the licensing conversation, because there's kind of two pieces to this. So from the copyright perspective, just like a one-time purchase, that will probably be a earlier option than the licensing. And here's why. So if you just want to be able to sell the copyright so that the brand can use that ongoing, that's easy, right? Because you just sell it, and then what they do with it, you're good, right? Whatever rules you've set in place. So like mine are, you can have the copyright for everything but Amazon, because I want to maintain the income that I get from that on the Amazon site, and they have duplicate content issues, right? For the licensing piece of this, Lane, this will be something that we've talked about in the future, but I know that like you do 3, 6, 12-month licensing deals, where the question is really like, would we then police that post licensing timeline? And that's something that feels a little bit more down the road than like just outright copyright sales, but is something that we definitely have like on our radar. I can be the Wayward AI persona.
I'm a fan of that idea.
I think this is for what it's worth. I get asked for my stuff like 60% of the time. I feel like if there was a way to facilitate it, we would all make more money. Yeah, people ask a lot of the times if they can just buy it.
Yeah. Yeah. So at some point we'll have that type of feature. I think we got to build the stuff like platformize Liz is offering kind of first, and then build in kind of these more paid upfront opportunities as well. And then with that, naturally will come kind of the licensing, copywriting components of that. So in the future, expect to see that.
And I want you guys to know, like, Jake is one of us at heart. Like, he is at night, like in his free time. Okay, so they're gonna laugh at this because a couple weeks ago I told them that for fun on Saturday nights I build websites, and they were like, "Oh my God, get a life." So, but I just want you to know I have found a home in Wayward. Like, Jake is also in his free time for fun, building tools. Part of the difference is here he's building tools for you in his free time for fun. So you guys, we are doing a lot of both very official and unofficial like work to get a bunch of this stuff like spun up and ready for you guys.
Kind of addicting, I'm not gonna lie. So
it's so addicting.
Check out Lovable if you haven't checked it out already. It's very addicting to build these platforms yourself. So
much fun. Oh my gosh, lovable.dev, guys. We have an addiction. So
awesome. Cool. Yeah, I just wanted to kind of, I'll speed through this. There's really not much more to cover beyond the fact that, so storefronts, if you see that, there is this concept of storefronts here. I'll show you an example. Bumble Baby was one of our very first creators. In fact, I think they were literally the first creator on Wayward back in 2022. And so they effectively are like a group of nurses in Chicago. They really were like, have been like a power user of kind of this storefront technology. And you can effectively add any product. Anytime you generate a link, it's going to by default like add this to your storefront, whether or not you use the storefront. But you can kind of beautify the storefront. You can create these awesome posts. You can add Amazon products to that. When you click kind of this Amazon product, it's going to take you directly to that Amazon product. If it's not in our catalog, it will just use a normal Amazon Associates tag. If it is in our catalog, it will use one of those longer attribution links. But wanted to kind of flag this as an opportunity if that was ever interesting. I know a lot of you just use the Amazon storefronts, which is totally fine. Keep using it, and if that's working for you, but throwing that out there is like, this is a kind of one of the other functionalities of Wayward. We also have a link in bio solution, not widely used to be fully transparent, but totally an option if you needed just a really free, quick and easy link in bio tool. And then the other thing here is like the Wayward exclusive products. Those are kind of like these embedded commerce products here. And I'll just show you what it looks like, these are kind of these Shopify products where you can kind of like add to cart and check out directly on the storefront. So if you see Wayward exclusive, that's what it means. Mentioned that earlier, but effectively this is kind of where that reporting lives. Within that reporting, you actually do get like customer information, which was a really cool aspect of like the original Wayward. Again, we're likely going to be kind of deprecating this offering, so probably not worth your time to even check out. But on the Amazon side, you will be able to kind of see, all of your Amazon reporting here within this analytics page. You can also download any of these reports. Like I said, you can also access this via API if you're a little bit more technical, but you should be able to kind of access all the reporting that you need from right here in the analytics tab. So
I like the thing about the storefront because like the Amazon storefronts, we can't move anything around. Like it's there unless you pin or curate. Everything else is there in the order that you created or last interacted with it. Whereas the Wayward storefront, if I wanted to maybe like, well, make it prettier, but also you can organize things into like categories and it doesn't have to be just the last thing that you actually created.
Exactly. Yeah. And so to do that, you can create like different collections and whatnot. I have no idea what's in these collections right now because this is just like our test account, but you can kind of create these different collections. You can create posts if you want to. Those are like these posts that live at the top of the page, but there's a whole bunch of functionality. Again, this was like very much the original purpose of Wayward was these storefronts, but so there is a lot of functionality around those storefronts within the Wayward platform.
Love that. And the Wayward exclusive is what's probably going away, but the storefront will stay, correct?
Storefront will stay. The embedded commerce or Wayward exclusive products likely will be going away and kind of transitioning over to like more traditional D2C affiliate products. But so I would not add those Wayward exclusive products, to be frank. But you can add as many of those Amazon products as you want, and those storefronts will be here to stay. So.
Excellent. Well, Jake, I want to be respectful of your time. We've got one more question and then we will wrap it up. But P wants to know, can you walk through what the workflow would look like to create an offsite link for a product using Wayward, using something like PostTap or Genius Link?
So with Genius Link, it's basically like you put in, once your API is connected to Genius Link, all you have to do is throw the product in there and create a normal Genius Link. It'll automatically happen on the background. So like if you add a product that's in our catalog and you have your Wayward account connected, there's no extra work that you need to do in terms of making that an attribution link. Genius Link will make that happen for you. It is important that you kind of save that API tag or API key if you want those to be attribution links. Otherwise, it will be 100% associate links. On PostTap, just learning of this platform, so I'm not 100% sure how their platform works, but my guess would be that you would effectively just come to Wayward, generate a link, grab that link, and throw it into PostTap, and it should turn that into like a deep link for you. So, just grab this full long Amazon link, or kind of that short link that's already been shortened if you wanted to, and shorten it again. Either way, it doesn't really matter. As long as you're using kind of one of these links here within that deep linking platform, it should work perfectly. So,
okay, perfect. And then, Doug, I think you're right. Maybe we'll do like a quick YouTube video on how to do that Genius Link creator API. Admittedly, I haven't connected mine, so I can actually walk through it with a screen share, record it, and then blur out all of the like confidential stuff, and I'll get that posted for you guys.
I can also just ping the Jessies, the two founders of Genius Link, and be like, guys, create a YouTube video on that.
Oh, that would be even better.
So not a problem.
Amazing. Well, listen, I'm going to go ahead and pull the screen share, but Jake, thank you so much for joining us. You guys, I've learned a ton. I legitimately was like, oh, I have so many questions that I hadn't even thought to write down here, but I'm so glad you were able to join us.
Of course. Yeah. Always happy to join. Hopefully this won't be the last time. So I'm here. If you guys do have questions, my email is jake@wayward.com. Should be fairly easy to remember. Feel free to reach out if you do need anything at all, or just have questions in general. We're here to help. So.
Absolutely. Part of the reason that the Wayward Fluencer Fruit whole thing was such a good fit was, you guys know that I try really hard to be accessible and to be really helpful, and the whole team just fits that same vibe. So yeah.
Love it.
All right. Well, you guys, I hope that you have a wonderful weekend. Thanks as always for joining me on a Thursday, and I will see you back here next week. Same time, same place.
Thanks so much, everybody.